Hello, how you guys doing? James here. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine. I'm trying to stay in on a good day and just relax and chill out. Nice day out there though. Um, I got another video I want to show you. This man went up to the what America calls the most racist town in America. In this video, I'm going to show you. Just because someone say that they're Christian, what kind of Christian that they have? You might ask, what's that supposed to mean? Well, I'm about to show you what that means.
All these people who have interviewed you for YouTube, a lot of people have made a lot of money off those videos because those people have a lot of followers. Some of those videos have millions of views, so they've made a lot of money off of your husband. I don't know if you were aware of that. And so when people click into those videos, what they're looking for is they want people in other states consider this to be a backwards, hillbilly, redneck, racist state, right? Yeah. And so when they click into the video, they're looking for racism. They want to find somebody from Arkansas who confirms their belief that Arkansas is a racist state. And so that's why they're clicking into the damn video, is because they want to say, aha, you see? Arkansas is a racist redneck state, and you are playing right into that, and you're helping those people make money.
No, let's don't put it all on him. I've lived here all my life. It was considered racist a long time before that. Well, now you know that the Jews run a lot of things.
I met a lot of people there. You think it's a shithole, whatever. I met a lot of people there who, to be quite honest, I don't want to be rude, but are a hell of a lot smarter than you are. And a hell of a lot smarter than you are. And they live in Africa. Well, we're putting 6 stars. So, in Arkansas, I guess if you have pubic hairs all over the damn hotel, and ice cold showers, and sheets that are so skeevy that I felt like I didn't feel like I had to. I did sleep with my clothes on last night. That gets you 4.6 stars in Arkansas. Do you think YouTubers are being unfair about this town, calling it the most racist town, or do you think they were basically accurate?
I think they're still very accurate.
You just think those are very, very accurate? The most popular kids in town were black?
Yes.
And you grew up to go to Tom's house, and you said he's actually a nice guy?
Yeah.
It's like a bad idea. I don't know if I should be doing this. What if this guy is out here with a gun? But the 10 Commandments, is it compatible with being a Klansman, following the 10 Commandments?
Well, absolutely simple question. Name me a non-white community. Name me a white community in America that you'd be afraid to go to.
I'm not afraid to go into any black community, and I don't think you're understanding me. I'm not afraid to go anywhere, white, black, anywhere. Good morning, folks, from Harrison, Arkansas. Reputed to be the most racist town in America. Where am I right now? I am standing before you. This has got to be the most famous billboard on YouTube. It absolutely is. Can you read that? I'm sure you probably can. Just in case you can't, let's zoom in on this a little bit here. So, there's a task force that has been trying to remove this billboard. Unsuccessfully, because it's here on private land. And apparently they were successful in removing a bunch of other billboards from the area. Another bunch of other racist billboards. So this is private property, and back here in the woods, you can hear a whole bunch of vicious dogs barking. So I'm leaving my car door open in case they sick the dogs on me. But this task force has been trying to remove all the racist signs from the area, and apparently they've been successful in removing all of them except for this one, which, by the way, it also has a advertisement for Jason Robb, an attorney who I believe his father is Tom Robb, the Grand Wizard of the KKK. So, in any case, so many YouTubers have come here and have concluded that this is the most racist town in America, based upon this and perhaps other signs, and also the fact that the history of this region, of this being a sundown town, in fact the whole county was called the Sundown County because African Americans could not be here after sundown, and also there's been lynchings here, historically, a lot of terrible things. But are the people of Harrison still racist? Well, I'm sure that some of them are. But there's 13,000 people living here, and apparently an awful lot of them are not racist, and they're not keen to be branded that way.
For the quote-unquote most racist town, this is the town I've gotten the most love from, and I just want to say I truly appreciate it.
So, also, just outside of town, we're going to visit this today. A lot of of people here in Harrison were trying to say, well, we're not the racists. The racists are the people over in Zinc is the racist town. We're not the racist town. Zinc is a tiny little hamlet near here. We're going to visit Zinc today. But the people of Zinc are also apparently saying, hey, we're not racist either, because Tom Robb and the KKK's compound is not actually technically in Zinc. It's in an unincorporated area just outside Zinc. So hell, nobody wants to be the most racist town, do they? Which I think is a good sign, folks. But we're going to have a hell of an interesting day today. We are going to look around Harrison a little bit. We're going to go out to Zinc. We're going to at least drive by the Klan compound and Tom Robb's church out there. And then we're going to go to a host of other places today. We're going to be heading out to a place called Return to the Land.
You hear that, Christians out there? You hear what he said? His compound is a church. Anybody come across this video, they said about, when they mention about, that latest person that you can't, they penalized in Charlie Kirk, saying that he was a Christian. Well, guess what? This man's a Christian too. But I'm going to show you what he...
A whites-only settlement, whites-only community. So...
yeah, you know what that one's about. Washington.
Introducing Penn Station's Penn Pairs for $7.99.
We'll cut through his video.
Oh yeah, of grilled subs paired with fresh cut.
Banana. They're too afraid to open up their mouths and talk about
They
it.
won't give interviews.
No.
But he will.
I'm not afraid to speak anywhere at any time against any opposing force. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
All right.
Right now, you can't talk about these issues in this country. And everybody is awakening to the fact that every white country and only white countries are being flooded with hundreds of millions of non-whites. What if I were to flip the script and say there's this race problem, and that this race problem would be solved when every and only black countries were flooded with hundreds of millions of non-blacks to create a blended humanity, and these immigrants were given special rights and privileges? How long would it be before someone figured out I'm not talking about a solution to a race problem?
But see, I'm a little confused because your husband keeps talking about immigrants. But it isn't just immigrants that you don't like, but what about also blacks, gays, people who live here in this country who are...
mentally ill. You can chop yourself up. You don't change your biology. Those people have to undergo all sorts of things just to maintain the illusion that there's something. And in a lot of cases, normal people have to foot the bill. What if I decided I was an airplane and everybody else had to pay for the extensive technology to let me fly?
You must spend a lot of time listening to his opinions. Do you still like listening to them after all these years? How many years you married?
3.
Only 3 years? Okay.
But I knew what he was when I married him. And I love what he talks about.
You like his stuff, huh?
Yes.
Before I head out, I just have one more thing that I'm going to tell you that's going to surprise the hell out of you. I'm really into travel. That's the theme of my channel. I've been to 85 countries. Just recently, for the first time, I went with my family to sub-Saharan Africa. For the first time. In June.
Shithole, wasn't it?
It was the best trip of my life. And I will tell you, I don't want to be rude, but the people that I met there were amazing. I met incredible people there. I met a lot of people there, you think it's a shithole, whatever. I met a lot of people there who, to be quite honest, I don't want to be rude, but are a hell of a lot smarter than you are. And a hell of a lot smarter than you are, and they live in Africa.
Okay.
So I wish, I know you would never do it, I would love to bring you to Africa. Your mind would be absolutely blown. You would be shocked. All of your core beliefs, you'd be questioning them because you think that they would hate you because you're white. They don't. You think that they're ignorant and they're not. You think the place is awful and it isn't. It's amazing.
No.
It would shock you. I know you're not going to agree with it. I'm just telling you. I've been there and you have not.
I know that most of the non-white world does not hate me because I'm white until they come to America, and that's the gig.
And that's what?
The gig. The way to grip the money.
Right.
And every group that comes to America still maintains its racial identity for the most part. But white people aren't allowed that.
All right, guys. I'm going to agree to disagree with you.
That's your opinion.
But you know what?
That is your
You're not the first travel channel through. You're just the first
Oh.
one to talk to.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Peace. Guy's a fucking piece of shit redneck. And I just had to stop him. I saw him. You know what? I'm like, I've seen this guy in so many videos, and he's perpetuating the stereotype of Arkansas being a racist hillbilly town, like I told him. And I don't know, I just had to talk to him. I probably was a little rude there. Maybe I should have been even ruder. But what an ignorant fuck. What an ignorant fuck. Speaking of ignorant fucks, let's go see Tom Robb. It's like a bad idea. I don't know if I should be doing this. What if this guy with a gun? That's his house right over there, man. But he's got a few dogs that came to the gate. And this guy could come out here with a shotgun and blow my that says no trespassing. And I don't know. Let's go over to the church and see if we can find it. So this is it right here, Christian Revival Center. And here's where we're at. 6640 Lead Hill Road, Harrison, Arkansas. It says. Even this is just outside Zinc. It's closer to Zinc, really. But anyways, just met a woman named Rebecca who was parked here, who said she's going to go get someone to tell me about this place. I don't know if that's going to be Tom Robb himself or someone else. But let's see what happens here, folks. But you know what? Honestly, after just talking to that other ignorant neck, I don't know if I want to hear any of their shit, you know? Like, my tolerance for listening to a bunch of racist bullshit is very limited. So I'm not going to give them a platform to just spew a whole bunch of fucking racism on my channel. I'm just not interested in that. So I don't know, maybe let's see if they show us the church. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't really want to listen to a lot of their bullshit, so I kind of am going to have a very short fuse here. So apparently this is Tom Robb, the leader of the KKK Raiders. He's got the Confederate flag. Hey, Tom. I'm Dave. How are you?
Let me roll this move. So we reach out and shake that hand.
All right.
How you doing?
Thank you, sir. And here we are, guys. We're pulling up into the Christian Identity Center. Tell me what we're viewing here. What are we seeing?
First off, we have two things going on over there. Okay, one is our church. Okay, and then there's a nice party. They're I'm sorry.
People will hear you. Yeah.
I understand. They're entirely separate. They're sort of at the same location, but they're separate.
This is the Knights Party, and that's the church?
No, this is the church. This is the Christian Revival Center. And so I don't know what your focus is on here.
Christian Bible Center.
But we're obviously traveling here in Arkansas.
Oh, all over the state.
All over the
Watch
state.
this.
Later today, I'm actually going to be over at the Return to the Land community. You're familiar with them?
I just know I've heard about them, but
Right.
Mechanics have to upcharge you. We don't make money out of oil changes and tire rotations. My buddy says this gizmo.
I've heard about them, but
Right. So, and traveling through the Ozarks. Also
it's of interest because they do have, I guess, trying to serve the community.
Right.
That's what we've been doing here for years.
Right.
We've been bringing people to the. We just aren't put on one. We don't have communes, so we've been bringing people moving to the area.
So do you have church services here on Sunday?
Every Sunday? Yes.
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
And are they mostly people from the KKK who come here? Or
Maybe half.
half KKK?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe half. Maybe not that many.
Maybe not that many. And other people are just townspeople?
Well, they're local people. They're people that share our political views and so on.
Right.
But they're not necessarily.
Is there like a Klan flag up there? Or tell me the flags you've
No,
got.
this is not a Klan church. This is a church.
Okay.
So it's not a Klan church.
It's not a Klan church.
No.
Only half the members are Klan.
Well, it's like going to a First Baptist church, and probably most of them are members of the Republican Party.
Okay.
But it's not a Republican Party church.
So which flags have you got?
No, there's a red flags up there. We got American flag.
Different ones?
We got a Scottish flag. We have
Scottish. Interesting. Okay.
We got one shredded with the St. Andrew's cross, what it is actually.
Okay.
And we got the Christian flag with the flag of Texas. No special reason why those flags. It's just
And I saw the Ten Commandments are there too, right?
correct. Yeah.
And I know you're in a hurry, so we'll be quick. But the Ten Commandments, is it compatible with being a Klansman following the Ten Commandments?
Well, absolutely. Why?
Whoa.
Well, I guess guess love thy neighbor is not a commandment, but it's the golden rule, right?
Yeah. So that's why I can't understand why people don't love their heritage, don't love their culture. You know, they kind of believe the commandments, but they don't love the people. They're willing to watch white people be a genocide. They don't care. So I find it very offensive that these people claim to be Christians, yet they sit and watch the genocide of our people.
Wait, when you say genocide, are you talking about the genocide in Gaza?
No, I'm talking about genocide of white people.
Okay.
Some people call it replacement theory. We're being invaded by aliens to our country. There's anti-white hysteria everywhere. And
Lord.
Let's walk. You mind? Walk and talk. Commandment to love our people, but you guys do have a problem with blacks, gays, Jews, Muslims, other. Correct? Or am I wrong? Am I confused?
They have a different culture.
All of those different groups have a different culture?
Pardon?
All of those groups you're saying have a different culture?
Well, absolutely. They're not a Christian culture.
Well, if they were born here in America, though, they're Americans, right? We still have a few things in common, don't we?
Well, I suppose if you think, you're born in Buffalo, you say?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess you have things in common with people that are Buffalo. What about people in Cincinnati?
What about them? They're Bengals fans. I don't like them because I'm a Bills fan.
But
Just kidding.
No,
But Kansas City and the Chiefs fans are a different story. I legitimately hate those. They're the only people I hate, Tom, are Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Right. Well,
Other than that, I like blacks, I like Jews.
Yeah.
I have no problem with anybody, unless they got a problem with me.
Yeah.
I don't dislike people based on whatever.
The white guy got attacked by those people in Cincinnati.
Right.
I guess they had a problem with him because he was white, didn't they?
Well, shame on them.
Absolutely.
Shame on them.
So you think he had a right to defend himself?
Who are you talking about?
The white guy that got attacked.
Of course, if somebody attacks you, you have a right to defend
You think
yourself.
as a corporate people have a right to defend themselves?
Let's walk and talk. Show me, because I know you're in a hurry. So
But you asked me a question.
no, you're absolutely welcome to answer.
You think we as a people have a right to defend ourselves?
I don't know what you mean as we as a people. If someone attacks you, then yes, you can defend yourself.
So you don't see an anti-white hysteria that being generated throughout the country?
An anti-white hysteria? Not so sure. I'm not so sure I follow you about what you mean by hysteria. I guess it's hard for me to follow what you're...
Yeah, I understand. It's hard for you.
I don't know what you mean by a hysteria, but
I understand. It's hard for you.
I don't... If you're asking me, do I feel under attack as a white man in Florida?
I didn't say you.
Oh,
I'm talking about our people.
well, I guess just the issue for me is that outward appearance, like when I think about myself, the least important thing about me is my outward appearance. The important thing about me is the core of me as a human being.
Yeah.
I don't see my skin color as the number one most important thing about. That's just my appearance.
I understand.
My appearance is not the most important thing about me. The important thing about me is my character, my family, how I was raised. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah.
Like that's where I come from.
Those good white
That's how I was raised.
Those good white carry those same values into Pine Bluff. But carry those same values into inner city Chicago.
Tom,
Name me a white area you're afraid to go to. Name me a white area you're afraid to go to.
I would encourage you, do me a favor. If you're open-minded,
I'm asking you.
if you're an open-minded
Name
guy,
a white area you're afraid to go to.
if you're an open-minded man, you will look at my channel. The last videos are from South Africa. I just came from South Africa, okay?
Okay.
I went to some of the most dangerous townships of South Africa. So quote-unquote dangerous. Do you know the sort of reception that I received there as a white guy? Nothing but hospitality and niceness. I did not get mugged. Didn't have anything bad happen to me. I don't believe that people are evil or bad because of their skin color. That's their appearance. It's the least important thing about them.
You didn't answer my question.
I don't know how to answer your question.
Name me a white area.
I'm not afraid to go anywhere, first of all.
You don't want to answer.
Listen to me. Look at my channel. Do I seem like the kind of guy who's afraid to go somewhere? I just came back from the most dangerous townships of South Africa. As a white man, I went to those places. Do I seem like the kind of guy who's just scared to go anywhere? I'm not scared to go anywhere.
Then answer a simple question. Name me a non-white community. Name me a white community in America that you'd be afraid to go to.
I'm not afraid to go into any black community, and I don't think you're understanding me. I'm not afraid to go anywhere. White, black, anywhere. I told you, I just came from South Africa. I went to the most dangerous communities in the world.
I understand your.
And I wasn't afraid.
I understand your courage.
It's not courage.
Well, I understand. Listen. I have traveled all across. I've been maybe not as well traveled as you have, but I've been in every state of the union.
Okay.
I've never been mistreated by a black person. I I've never been, I only had kindness that's given to me by non-whites.
Right.
I've never had any issues with them.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we're not indifferent people.
Let's see this place. This is the. Tell me what this is. We're going to see now.
This is our United Party office. This is just the office where they process mail and.
Please, 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 stop using ChatGPT like.
Why do they always keep saying that genocide? What is a genocide? Where is the genocide at? Where? This is the same rhetoric that someone was trying to tell Donald Trump. Where is the genocide of these people? You go through the area of any white town. There's no genocide. There's no people genociding people. You know, it's like they this man is delusional, man. You know.
Google, disappear for a month and do this instead.
See now.
This is our United Party office. This is just the office where they process mail and things, that sort of stuff.
So these are old pictures of Klan rallies and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you guys still have rallies here? You do occasionally?
We haven't had any relatives over here. The internet changed everything.
Right.
So,
Is this your office, like where you work?
I don't work here, but this is our office.
Okay. Branding, Zinc and Harrison, the most racist town in America. And I'm sure maybe you've seen some of those, maybe you haven't. No, let's not get into all that kind of stuff. Let me finish my question. Let me just finish my question. There's been tons of videos out there saying Zinc is the most racist town in America, Harrison's the most racist town in America, and there's some people who live in Zinc and Harrison who are unhappy about that because they don't want the reputation of the town to be most racist town or whatever.
Why did they move here?
Well, a lot of them were born here in Harrison or Zinc or wherever.
A lot of them, but most haven't. This city has doubled in population.
When you say this city, Harrison or Zinc you're talking about? Okay.
Harrison. When I moved here in 1970, okay, I was already making national news.
Right.
The city had doubled in population since
Right.
that time.
Okay.
Not because of people having babies, because people have moved here to get away from wherever they were at.
Okay.
And many of them have moved here. Then within a few years, they're saying Harrison's a racist town. It's
Okay.
horrible. If they feel that way, why did they not move to Pine Bluff
Okay.
or North Little Rock
Well,
or Camden or someplace El Dorado?
so you don't think you're giving the town a bad name by being located here?
Hardly. Why do you think so many people are moving here?
You think they're moving here because of your presence
No,
here?
not because of me. I moved here because it's a safe white community.
Because it's a safe white community.
Absolutely.
Okay. So recently my wife and I took the 23andMe DNA test. You ever taken that type thing? Or Ancestry? There's many different companies that offer those DNA tests. You ever take one of those things? So I don't know if you'd be interested in taking one or not, but I was always told growing up that we were 100% Italian. But anyways, we took this DNA test and it found out, surprise, I'm going to put on the screen for my video, that I am 3% North African and 0.3% Sub-Saharan African, West African. And I'm not 0.3%, that's not a hell of a lot. But there was a trace of that there. And I wonder, I'm not saying that you might have a similar ancestry, but I guess it's all possible for all of us who consider ourselves to be white, that we do have some of that type of ancestry. And I guess I would just say that, like, some of us who think we're white have some African ancestry. I mean, you are aware of that, right?
23andMe also did a, there was a survey taken about 10 years ago, forget the name of it,
Yeah.
with information supplied by 23andMe of 148,000 self-described white people. People who said, I'm white. Not people who said, I'm white, but I have some this, or I have some that. These are people who said, 148,000 people who said, self-described as being white. 23andMe had done an investigation in their DNA. It said less than 3% of those 148,000 are self-described, and that's a large number.
Yeah.
Showed any identifiable traces of non-American.
Busy guy. If you ever do look at my channel, I would encourage you to do so.
I'll check it out.
Because I've been to 85 countries. For the first time this year, I went to Sub-Saharan Africa. I'd never been there before. And I went there for the first time with my family in May and June. We traveled to South Africa, also Lesotho and Eswatini, the small little countries in there. It absolutely blew my mind. I was shocked by many, many different things. First of all, you think maybe as a white person in Africa that people are going to hate you or going to be mean to you. the level of hospitality, I mean, I've never been to a nicer place before in my life where people are kinder to you. I've never been to a more hospitable place, and I was amazed too, like, you know, the culture, the way the people are there, the food, everything. Honestly, it was the best trip I've ever taken in my life. And I know you probably would never go to Africa, but I wish that you might try it. And I'm not saying if you went that you would completely change all of your viewpoints, but I think you would be absolutely shocked and surprised at how nice and how beautiful it is and how nice the people are. And again, I know you won't go, but I wish that you would, because I think you would be really surprised.
Well, for myself, let's go. Like I said, I've traveled not closely for each day, except for one. So I've never been mistreated by people.
I heard you.
So I don't have any personal idea that every black person would be mean like that.
But you're afraid of them. You're saying their neighborhoods are dangerous and stuff.
Well, I'm not saying I'm afraid of them, but yes, black neighborhood, high crime, and all your races. So black people did it. So I don't have any personal deal about that person did it in our neighborhood. But I am saying very different people, different culture, different background, and we just want to make.
We're all God's children. We're all human beings, dude. We really are. I mean,
dogs is God's child too, according to Hindus.
Listen. These things, your appearance is the least important thing about you. What counts is what's in your heart. But anyways, I thank you, sir. I know you're in wish I didn't come, because that just puts me in a bad mood.
Wow. I got handed to him for saying that. I got handed from going up in there. He had brave, man, just to go up in there and try to talk to that man, try to talk some sense into him. But some people, you know, they're gonna stand by their core. They're gonna stand by their belief. Somebody gonna carry that stuff all the way to hell.
Jet AI is not just for AI.
That's what's gonna lead.
It's a business skill and a leadership advantage. The postgraduate program in generative AI.
Hey there, family. This is your brother Dana, and I'm coming to you from that place in one love. I hope this video will give you, my white evangelical conservative Republican Christian Trump-loving family members, some more understanding of what's taking place in your white evangelical conservative world. And to sum it up in one sentence, the continuation of your white supremacy is over. The continuation of your white supremacy is over. See, you described this young man, Charlie Kirk, who was shot yesterday, as a devout Christian, a man of faith, a great husband, one who was being used by God in not only gathering but building up the next generation of white conservative Republican Christian people. But see, the continuation of white supremacy is over. The time of the Gentiles has come to an end. Because what you need to know about Mr. Charlie Kirk is that he was totally against reparations. I understood him by saying, why are we going to pay a group of people when they have not suffered? He was against the Civil Rights Act in 1964. He said it was a huge mistake. Martin Luther King Jr., he said, was an awful man. He was not a good person. He named several prominent black women, including Michelle Obama. And he said that these black women used affirmative action because they do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. So they had to steal a white person's slot. So even though you, my white evangelical conservative Republican Christian Trump-loving family member, see him as a God-fearing man to restore morality and bring this nation back to where it needs to be, he was a leader of continuing white supremacy. And I have said it before, and I will say it again. You are not entering your golden age of white supremacy restored, but in fact you are entering your last age. And so, before I end, and you say that I'm being very insensitive to the death of this Charlie Kirk, I'm also going to remind you of his words. Quote, "I think it's worth it," he said. "I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights." And then I want to close with this quote from Charlie Kirk. "I can't stand the word empathy," he said. "I think empathy is a made-up New Age term, and it does a lot of damage." So to you, my white evangelical, conservative Republican, Christian, Trump-loving family members, the reign of your white supremacist ways is coming to an end, and there will be nothing that you can do to keep it. This is your brother Dana, and I'm coming to you from...
So he didn't have empathy, huh? He didn't have empathy. But let me tell you, in the Bible, Jesus had empathy. Jesus had empathy when he went out there with his disciples, when he saw that the people, what they needed. Jesus had empathy. This is to my Christians. But yet, just because he said one good thing about Jesus, but did he display the characters of Jesus? Jesus set the motion, Yeshua, to some people. But the one that paid for it on the cross made it so that we would learn, comprehend, pick up, receive the Father's Spirit, like receiving his DNA, and reflect to the people who don't have his DNA. We speak, and that's what Yeshua sent the Comforter to help us speak life in the people. Did Charlie speak life in the people? According to what that man said? And you saw what he said about Christians. Did he display that in his life? Did he display it on the college campuses?
Hollywood is a place where are sacrificed. So this is not just trafficking that to kings and queens and presidents.
Instead of talking about the politician, what they will do is they will brand a politician with one of these figures from the Old Testament that's usually a villain. In Branham's day, he labeled JFK as Ahab, and he labeled Jacqueline Kennedy as Jezebel. And so all of the listeners who were programmed with that is loaded language to refer to those people as those two. Well, then every sermon thereafter where he's talking about them, he would say things like, we need somebody today who will stand up and rise up against Ahab, or we need to storm Ahab's door. Well, if you're listening to it and you don't understand this loaded language, you don't realize that those are very militant terms to people who might just be crazy enough to go do it.
Critical component to mind control.
Being made over to be clones of the person who's at the top of the pyramid.
Interested in this subject because of my own cult involvement. I was recruited in 1974 into a front group of the Moonies. Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Hassan with another episode of my podcast, Cult Conversations, The Influence Continuum, with me, Dr. Steve Hassan. I have an old friend and colleague with me today, John Andrew Collins. I'm adding the Andrew since John Collins is a name owned by many people, and my esteemed guest has written many important books, and I want you to, aside from going...
Let me stop it right quick. What his video says, from KKK to Agnon, this, and of course YouTube put the meaning, is a cult form. How cults fuel racist politics.
To the blog and clicking the links on what things that people just...
Sorry about that. But it's the politics we lead to today.
Whenever a researcher who is looking at only a doctrine looks at the two, they see them as two completely separate entities, as though they were never connected. However, because Branham preached everything under the sun, they can still be connected if you know where to look.
Yeah, so I want to just say that my research says that the stereotypical profile of cult leaders is malignant narcissism, which is not just the grandiosity, the entitlement, the need for constant praise, the transaction, but lack of empathy. And then when you get into the malignant thing, they think they're above the law, they're pathological liars, they're sadistic, paranoid, the whole list. And these folks, and I include Branham, even though I've never met the man, but when you describe him, it's like he's like sizing up his audience. So we're going to go to this city. He has his advanced scouts, figuring out how we're going to get the biggest number of people so that we can get the most money. And so then he preaches what is going to be received. And so, but in his head, it's like the ends justify the means, and maybe he's deluded and thinks that he's, God's greatest gift to mankind, because malignant narcissists often think they're the center of the universe anyway. And he loves the power, that people will do whatever he says, and he can get a lot of money, get a lot of power, maybe get into some people's skirts or pants or whatever. Was there any sexual abuse that you were aware of from Branham?
Absolutely, but we've had people mention it, but nobody who's willing to openly testify. So nothing that I can document historically. However, there's this weird trail that followed him, and it was with the same sex, not with opposite sex. Mm-hmm. Many of the people who were in Branham's leadership circles were homosexual, and they later had many, many issues. And in fact, some of them turned out to be predators. What's really interesting, I did not know this last time you and I spoke, but I pour through FBI documents once they're declassified. Anything that's in this realm, I try to catalog it.
You are an information vacuum, my friends. Well, I admire you so much.
So there's this weird history that it ties to all this, and I don't know yet what to make of it. It goes beyond. This is probably worthy of another podcast in of itself, but I'll give you the highlight because it does kind of tie to this. One of William Branham's campaign managers was the Baron William T. Frary von Blomberg. This man,
what a name!
It's a crazy name, and it's a crazier story. If you look it up, you won't believe it when you see it. This man from Boston gets adopted by a baron in Germany, and essentially takes him on, and he became the adopted, was it the cousin? Somewhere he's related to Werner von Blomberg, which was Hitler's Minister of Defense. And he had counsel with Hitler. He toured Dachau. He comes back to the United States and said, Hitler's a great guy. This is back before the war. Right? Well, he goes on to found many religious organizations, and he worked on the board of others which were significant. One of them is the Fellowship Foundation. He was a director for the fellowship, the family. He was on the board of directors for the Bob Jones University. He was Branham's campaign manager, and he was, to those who knew him, was openly homosexual. So declassified FBI documents now examine him. And when you read through it, it's kind of funny because one of the reasons why they're following him around trying to figure out what is this German guy doing, who is an American, is because he's openly homosexual. He's having homosexual flings in his hotel rooms on these campaign tours, and he does not fit the profile of the people that he is managing. So what is this? And one thing, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but he and Branham and others went to other countries and established similar organizations like the Fellowship Foundation in other countries. So if it is espionage, it's the perfect means to do it. But he set all of this up. But the long story short is the FBI were trying to track him because this doesn't make any sense. This guy's gay, and you can't be gay in this movement. They condemn you strongly. And then you come to find out other people who were in the movement were also homosexual and predators. He goes, so Baron Frere T. von Blomberg takes William Branham to Germany, where they meet the founder of the Colonia Dignidad, where there's all kinds of torture.
Oh, was that Central America or South America?
Well, it started in Germany. He was a Branhamite in Germany. His name was Paul Schaefer. Paul Schaefer goes to Chile and starts Colonia Dignidad, and he has this thing for young boys. And honestly, I can't tell you what all he did. I covered some in the book, but it's so bad that you'll get filtered on the podcast if I tell you what he did to those boys.
Yeah.
And
would you like a shopping list full of benefits? Savings on gas and at restaurants and hotels, plus resources to stay healthy and fit, and to help manage your
in a climate where the Europeans have done a lot of anthropological studies of other people. They studied American Indians, they studied the Africans, our ancestors, they study tribes lost somewhere in Australia, but no one has actually sat down and studied the European. No one has gone into looking at the European from an anthropological standard, how they really are, where they really came from. What is the nature of this person? What is the nature of this tribe, this clan, this family? So what I'm going to do is give you a background into nutritional causes of what we call today racism.
Dr. Laila O. Africa opens his lecture on white racism and mental illness by highlighting a critical point. Europeans have traveled across the globe, conquering, colonizing, and studying the world's people. Yet no serious studies have been conducted on Europeans themselves. He challenges his audience to consider the fact that African people and other oppressed groups do not truly understand the nature, psychology, and history of Europeans, the very group that has subjugated them for centuries. Dr. Africa stresses that this lack of study prevents oppressed people from fully understanding their enemy and therefore limits their ability to effectively resist systems of domination. He then transitions into discussing how racism, imposed and perpetuated by Europeans, has detrimental effects on the nutrition and health of black people. He asked the question, where did Europeans come from and how does their origin shape their behavior? According to Dr. Africa, Europeans emerged approximately 4,000 years ago. The introduction into history, he notes, was characterized by violence, a pattern that continues in their collective behavior. Because the European environment was harsh and its soil nutrient deficient compared to the rich lands of Africa, Dr. Africa suggests that Europeans developed behaviors shaped by scarcity, aggression, and survival in nutrient-poor conditions.
Now, the Europeans came from somewhere, first of all. They claim they walked from Asia all the way up to Europe, and they established their civilization in Europe. They took a 4,000-mile walk from Asia up to Europe. That is their claim. And they claim their race is from 3 Sanskrit words. That is their claim. But the only thing we have historically to document them is what the facts are. There are a lot of people who claim that they were made and created in a laboratory, the Europeans. There are a lot of people who claim they are a degenerate black person, someone who suffers from a melanin deficiency. That is true. But the facts are they came from somewhere. So we're going to look at where they came from and what caused them to behave the way they behave, strictly as a science, like you look at any other animal. There are human beings that behave like animals, and then there are animals that behave like human beings. So we're going to look at some animals that behave like human beings. Now, according to, let me go to the chalkboard for a minute. Now, we're going back to maybe 1.5 million years ago. And during that period of time, they had what they call the Ice Age. And that was about 1.5 million years ago.
May I have your attention, please? Workshop, sir.
I'll let him pause there.
Dealing with abusive relationships. Room 102. The challenges of international, interracial relationships is in room.
Yeah, so we know that the Ice Age started, the most recent one started 1.5 million years ago, and it just stopped about 10,000 years ago. So that's when it stopped 10,000 years ago. And the ice receded about 5,000 years ago. And the Europeans entered into history 4,000 years ago. And this is when they first recorded this race called the Europeans 4,000 years ago. That was recorded on a pallet, on a mace head in Africa when they first met the Europeans. That's 4,000 years ago. So this is when they entered history. And of course, they entered history violently. And we say they were violent people. Well, they came from the Ice Age. Now, we're in Europe. We're around France, Germany, Sweden, Slavic countries. Those areas are known as glaciated. Glaciated soil. When the ice melts, the ice floods the area, and when it floods, it washes away all the vital nutrients. This is what happened. So I'm going to just outline some of them and go over some of them that were washed away from the soil. Selenium. Anyone raised on Ice Age glaciated soil, that's in France, that's in Germany, that's in England, is going to have a selenium deficiency. This is fact. This is what the soil content is. They're going to have a zinc deficiency. They're also going to have a phosphate deficiency.
The government is neutering this $30 million.
Sorry, must be something going on with the station. But anyway, I just want to. It's getting dark in here. That's pretty much the video. I didn't want to go too long because it's kind of long. Shout out to Joseph Ward in this video, and shout out to the doctor who's pointing out the random video. So you see, if the earlier video I want to show you for people who say that they're Christians, that there's different forms of Christians, but when you have the mindset when what that older man was saying about white genocide, Charlie Kirk felt the same way about, and that's why he would always say certain things like this. And the first people he targeted was blacks, and then he going down the line to other people, and so on and so on. But that man had to take you. I'll show this video because people say, well, you know, he was a believer in Christ. He was a Christian. But now you see that just because someone say that they're Christian, what part of Jesus do they really believe? Do they believe that you are made in God's eyes? Because if he was a believer, he would have said some of the mean things that he said and have the same mindset. Jesus was about empathy. He had empathy for the people when he was walking the earth. He had empathy for the thief that was on with him on the cross. So, what does that tell you? That my question would be to the people who think highly of Charlie Kirk is that did he display Jesus' personality? Because when you read your scriptures and Jesus, giving us what the idea of what to do, like he told the disciples all the way to us to now, it's feed my sheep, love my people. That's the Christian. It didn't say love just white people, black people, brown people, or Pacific, and by their class, their status, or whatever. He said love people. And if Charlie Kirk loved people, that should have been the last thing that would come out of his mouth, being a believer. Just because someone mentioned the name of Jesus, don't mean that they have Jesus in your heart. So that's the point of this video. But this goes to show you, just because someone say that they're a Christian, what do they really believe? Because you see the Klan had their own church. Alright then, take care, be blessed, see you on the next video.